Welcome back to Let's Play .hack.gu. This is perhaps the most important update of all of Volume 3. Now for this, we are inviting... I'm torn between inviting Endurance and Pi. Endurance is 121, Pi is 119... I think Pi's got better equipment. Ovan has notified us, and the time is drawing near for him to be forced to make his final decision. So we ask to talk in Sigma Immersed Crimes Paraphrase.
Are you ready? We'll head to the outer dungeon with area hacking and settle the score with Ovan.
This time, I will get her back. Shino.
Yada said he was going to accompany us, but he's only really accompanying us... Well, he is coming with us, just not in our party. Also, I can run really fast now, because... Remember the demon safe shoes that I got for beating the gold goblins? Super sprint. Not only do they give me 25% increased movement speed, but... Hi guys. Have I mentioned the demon safe shoes are friggin' awesome? Just in case I'm not clear, they're friggin' awesome. That said, what level was this area? 116, 118? I think it was 118. But this is something that Volume 3 seems to have just a little bit of a hard time with, is getting bosses an appropriate level. Pretty sure I'm going this way. Is getting bosses to be an appropriate level of difficulty compared to the level that you should be at the time. Now, I was level 116 before this, and I've been getting through without too terribly much difficulty. But that aside, despite being 116, maybe I was a little underleveled, because I had been skipping some intended fights. So maybe if I fought everything, I'd be like 118, maybe 120. If I like really went out of my way, and Yada's still following us. Maybe 120 if I went really out of the way. But, so that should tell you that, like, at 116, I should have a really hard time with this boss, but it should be possible. At 20, it should be difficult, but manageable. And really any higher than 20, and it should be pretty much a cakewalk. I fought him, I didn't even bother fighting him at level 16, to be honest. I grinded to level 21. And I was massacred. Not even close. I didn't even have a chance at level 21. There was just... Tactics didn't even matter. There was just too much difference in our strength. It was kind of like Warsman fighting Buffalo Man, to be honest. But, just too big a difference in our strength. So I had to go back and grind even more, so I'm 124 now, and at 124, the fight is difficult, but manageable. So, yeah, it's the game, just Volume 3 seems to have trouble with this, because there was kind of a similar thing with Taihaku. If you fought him at the level you were kind of at when you got to him, he just destroyed you. You had to grind out a bunch of levels. So yeah, there's my complaint. I think you just go straight into this one. Now, even though I have the demon safe shoes, I will still be fighting enemies, of course. I mean, you guys want to see gameplay. You didn't come here to see Haseo run really far. But this is near an...
It looks like there's anomaly.
Go up instead of down, and then go in the teleporter, then go straight into that teleporter. And then on this floor, you just want to go as up as possible. Taking you into this room.
Ovan is somewhere in this outer dungeon.
Stay on your guard.
Now, I was talking before about the floor layouts of the outer dungeons. And you know what? I learned a whole lot of stuff. And we're talking about it. Because I don't care if it's going to bore you guys to death, to be perfectly honest. I am a huge freaking fan of figuring out how randomly generated dungeons are generated. And I like figuring this stuff out, so we're going to talk about it for a while. Looking at the floor here, you'll notice that the floor is actually kind of divided up into little 4x4 sections here. 4x4, 4x4, 4x4. And if you look at the center of the dungeon, though, or center of the room, this is just a regular square room. You see a bunch of these. You'll see 4x4, then a hard line, and you can see the hard line in the floor. It goes uninterrupted. Then another 4x4 in a hard line. It goes the whole length. Then a whole bunch more. And you can't divide these into 4x4 groups, though. In fact, it's really, really irregular. But then near the other side, you get another 4x4, then another 4x4, and then another wall. What this is the very center of the room is a giant 16 by 16 square. That is then surrounded by two laps, I guess you could say, two layers of 4x4 squares. Now this is really neat when you get to the longer rooms, because what they do is they take the 16 by 16 square, and they just tile like 3 of them next to each other, and then they surround the whole thing with 2 layers of 4x4 squares. Neat stuff. Now, the hardest thing that I had trouble figuring out was... We may have to go back to the beginning to talk about this, actually. The hardest thing I had to figure out was about the hallways. And man, did I learn some neat stuff about the hallways. Where am I going? There's nothing but red. Crap. I wasn't paying attention. I think we go in this one. The hallways, though. Oh man, there's some neat stuff about the hallways. I think we're going to have to go back to the very first room. This outer dungeon doesn't happen to have any real hallways in it. Now, the demon safe shoes help in this exceedingly, because when you warp in, there are usually outer bugs in the room, and you will get jumped by them. Now, one neat thing about the outer bugs, I mentioned before that maybe they were dependent on your level. They are not. As someone pointed out, the original enemies I ran into were called, they had the alpha prefix or suffix on them. And the guys I was fighting last time had beta. Now, at the time, I was assuming the small ones were beta and the big ones were alpha. But no, it's the small ones are just little bug-born things. And as you can see, these are gamma, so they're even harder. So yeah, the small ones are like Bugborn, and then the big ones are something else. A save point, and some stray data. Now, someone else was asking if there were going to be things like this in the outer dungeons. And to be honest, aside from this one, I don't think there are. I think this one is the only one. And this one, I don't know, I could be mistaken. Maybe there are some later on, but I don't remember there being any more. I think this one's it. Whipping twin blades, and let's go talk to Ovan.
We don't know what'll happen there. We should make sure that we're really prepared.
There's a save point over there. Save if you need to. There's also a platform. You can get things out of storage. At this point, by anyway, you should have the extension to your guild to be able to move things out of storage.
This time, I will get her back. Wait a minute. Where are we?
Could this be?
The Creator's Room.
Ovan! That ghost girl. What's she doing here?
You see, Haseo, this is a part of the black box left in the world by its great creator. Not even the Serpent of Lore can know this place exists. Here lie the divine stories and all the wisdom of the world.
Is that the epitaph of Twilight?
All right, that's enough talk! The Lost Ones. Do you know if there is a way to cure Shino?
A way to return those who can't come home?
What's so funny?
It is easy enough to change things, Haseo. But bringing things back to the way they were is difficult. Let me give you a simple example. How would you go about separating milk and tea that have been completely mixed together? You cannot. And in fact, there is no need to.
You!
However, remember this, Haseo. When you escaped the Ida server, when you removed the cause of the Ida server, the consciousness of the Lost Ones came back. If you can manage to defeat me, there's a slim chance that Shino's consciousness may return. But I'm afraid that's a 1 in a million chance. There is no certainty, none whatsoever.
Ovan, you bastard!
Now, destroy me, Haseo! You see, if you want your truth, you must take it from me!
Here goes!
And thus begins the final showdown with Ovan. he actually fights pretty much exactly like he fought as the final boss of the previous game. He ducks down. What am I doing? I'm doing this one. He ducks down, he's about to jump up into the air. Just get the crap away from him. He still summons his little, returners. This one is a barrier. Get away from him. What's the button? Is it L1 to have everybody gather together? Or neighbor. If you get caught in his combo, mash the, R1 button. Guard! Now, one thing you may notice... Light neighbor, don't care. Now, one thing you may have noticed, the light neighbors are actually really annoying. But they're not your chief concern. One thing you may have noticed, though, is... the book that Ovan was holding up earlier was, in fact, the... That hurt a little. I think he does that at half HP? Yeah, half HP. But the book he was holding up earlier was, in fact, the... as you saw written on the, binding, Book of Twilight. That was actually the... Oh, crap, restore neighbors. That was, in fact, the same book that Kite used in the original quadrilogy to gain his powers. They called it the container of the Epitaph of Twilight, and perhaps it does contain it, but it is, in fact, simply the Book of Twilight. Now, I've been holding off on doing this because I was waiting for restore neighbors and trying to talk, so I'm saying this now. Friggin' data drain. The restore neighbors are weak to Twin Blade, by the way. Oh, that Drain Arc. You get that at level 5. But the restore neighbors are weak to Twin Blade, which is why I suggest having Twin Blade equipped. The second they appear, nuke them. Just do whatever you have to do. Not Ovan. Kill the freaking... Someone else was actually wondering. Reject and restore. Reject puts up a barrier and it takes damage instead of Ovan. Restore heals him. The light neighbor, if you see it. The light neighbor casts spells on you and they hurt. More of them, really? Run, 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 run! Guard! Also, you know what? I had Adley on free will. I'm gonna set her to life because Ovan hurts like a son of a gun. generally save the awakening. Ow. Just 3 levels earlier, that did about twice as much damage, by the way. I generally save the awakening. I'm gonna go around this way. Save the awakening for when the restore neighbors come out, because they're gonna be the annoying ones that you want dead right then. I think there's a light. Yeah, there's a couple of them. Thank you, skill break. Skill trigger, whatever. Ow, ow, ow. You know what? I don't like using items, but I can't use items. I'm going to use items, because I need items, and I need to get away from that. Ow, ow. What happened to the little animation that says you're casting a spell? You know what? I'm just gonna friggin' attack you. Ah! Okay, you know what? I have 18 noble drops. Let's use one on Natalie. I don't care about them. Attack Ovan. No, no. Oh, crap. Well, thank you for knocking me out of the way of his giant laser of death. That was very courteous of you. Natalie, don't you die on me. And these are... Restore! There shouldn't be much left of Ovan now. If he's not dead yet, let's finish him off! He's guarding, but oh well. They all dead? No, that one's not dead yet. Ow, 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 ow! Of course, if you're airborne, you can't do a skill trigger. Let me guess, more restore neighbors? Oh, target? Ovan! Friggin' reject neighbor! You know, after all this time, I completely forgot to equip my better boots! Come on, let's finish him off!
That's not enough! Not enough! What's wrong, Haseo? Is that the limit of your strength? Destroy me! Devour me! Tear me to bits! Come, Haseo. Use your avatar. The one that's devoured 7 of the 8. Defeat me with your fully developed avatar, your Grim Reaper. Now, so that I can never revive again. To bring Shino back, you must devour me entirely. Come the Rebirth! Corbinate!
Ovan, you're serious, aren't you? Fine. I'll do it. If that's what you really want. And if that will grant you your wish. Ovan! Okay, come on. Come on! I'm right here!
Corbinic. Ida is growing. It's clearly more powerful than it once was. Perhaps because Corbinic is so held back. He's actually... This fight is actually a good bit easier than the previous one. But don't underestimate it. Though the fight is easier, his attacks hurt. If you manage to get hit by him, they hurt.
Try to surpass me!
Ah! That's really your best way of hurting him, is knocking that attack back. Though I'm not always exactly successful at that. When he does the variant summon, you can just shoot them all, they die simple enough. Celestial Wrath is tricky because sometimes it decides to dodge, sometimes it doesn't. Now, my usual strategy of just getting as far away from him as physically possible is actually not the best solution. You want to be a certain distance away from him to deal with all of his attacks. If you're too far away, it's hard to attack back. Of course, if you're too close, it's hard to dodge. I also find it a hard time dodging the raining attack. Sometimes I can dodge really easily, and sometimes they decide to get a little ahead of me, and heaven, this is gonna hurt.
Now's your chance to reclaim the truth!
And sometimes I can knock that back and sometimes I can't, but this should finish it! He does still have his barrier though, so we can't data drain him right away. The first time, we knock away the shield. Now we just have to do it once more.